Welcome to the Houston Huddle, where knowledge meets the game. 3 voices, every angle and beyond the headlines. Xavier Houston is a sports encyclopedia of knowledge, with a deep inside look at the recruiting landscape, from prospects to pipelines. He sees the whole board. Simeon Houston brings it play by play, thought by thought, breaking down the game with logic, clarity, and a deep understanding of how all the pieces fit together. And rounding out the huddle, Martin Houston, national champion, 2-time SEC champion, with insight forged in the field of play, with an unmatched passion for sports, leadership, and life. Together, they take you from the locker room
to the field, to inside the huddle. 3 voices, every angle,
beyond the headlines.
This is the Houston Huddle.
Now it's time to lock in.
It's time for the huddle. The Houston Huddle.
The Houston Huddle.
It's time for the huddle. The Houston Huddle.
Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share on your favorite social platform. And let's get in the game.
Welcome into the Houston Huddle. 3 voices, every angle, beyond the headlines. I am Xavier Houston. That is Simeon Houston and Martin Houston. Of course, as we get ready to break down the national championship game, Indiana versus Miami. I don't even like saying that. And no SEC teams again for the 3rd year in a row. We'll talk about SEC conference and where they stand, as well as we'll get into patience is a virtue. Come a week ago, people were feeling a little different about Alabama and their portal class and how they are attacking it and handling things on that front. But it looks like things have turned over a new leaf in Tuscaloosa. Hey, and Bama added someone else in the 26 class. So still apparently recruiting the high school level too as well. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing good. I'm excited for somebody to finally put a stop to Fernando Mendoza and his 14 for 16, 173-yard Heisman performances. I'm just ready for Miami in about an hour and 30 minutes to put an end to all of that, because I mean, a Heisman Trophy winner hadn't had a 300-yard passing game in 2025. Maybe I get that if it was, the 80s and the 90s, but for that to be a stat
Do
in
what now?
2025, Fernando Mendoza hasn't thrown for over 300 yards in a single game this season. He won the Heisman Trophy.
Oh wow.
Fact, I could be wrong. I think I'm right about that. But
That's that is pretty amazing in today's game. That's an amazing stat, especially considering how they some of those teams they beat up pretty good. But he like no one was more anti Indiana and Mendoza than me. Uh, not believing the hype. Um, but I guess I just wonder, I was going to say, can he, if his team needs him, can he do it? But he did it against Penn State.
he had one drive against Penn State.
Yeah. His
That's all they
accuracy,
needed.
has his accuracy in the playoffs been like just unreal? And is that because like they've just jumped on people, or what I mean, because he's played better in the playoffs than he did all year, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean he's been extremely accurate and on point. And let's be honest, he hasn't had to. They are dominating teams and they're beating teams badly because they have a phenomenal defense. They have an amazing running game, and he's the orchestrator of that. I mean that's what wins you the Heisman a lot of the times if you're
Best player
the
on the field.
face of the number one team or what's perceived to be the number one team in the country. You have outliers like a Travis Hunter last year that it was because of what he was doing on both sides of the ball, but that's a rarity in today's game. Because if you really want to talk about who's the most impactful player to their team this year, you go Diego Pavia, you go
yeah,
Jeremiah Love, and here's the crazy part: Jeremiah Love didn't have crazy stats. If Jeremiah Love had 16, 17, but he didn't have to have crazy stats because they had another running back that they could switch him out with and keep him fresh. So that is just
Yeah,
kind of how it works now.
yeah. So that's going to be part of what we want to talk about. Do we want to start off there, or we want to end with the Miami game? Because we promised we'd talk other things, but of course, a lot of people want to hear about that Alabama Crimson Tide. Uh, and as you said, patience is a virtue. I had to apologize to Kaylin this morning and on Ryan's show because undoubtedly he had a plan. I couldn't see it. My brother was
yeah.
stressed. I was stressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should start with the portal, and I was also kind of wanting to hit the portal on two fronts: the Alabama standpoint of it, and then you kind of talk about the Darian Mensah situation with him entering the portal at the last second on Friday, and all signs point to him going to Miami. And how can the NCAA wrangle back in what's going on if it is possible? But starting off with the Alabama side of things, it kind of kicked off on Friday with Cal Poly Center Racing Delgatti transferring in to Bama, 6'4", 310-pounder, who's played 2 years, 1,300 career snaps over those 2 years that he's played. He has 2 years of eligibility left. And that kind of got the ball rolling because one big thing that everybody had talked about at this point was, yeah, Bama's getting guys in the portal, but on the offensive line and defensive lines, we were still kind of thin. And even with the guys we got, there was no experience. Well, starting off with Delgatti, we got some experience.
Yeah, I mean, this offensive line transfer portal class as a whole up until this last few days, I was really disappointed. I mean, I was kind of felt like every guy said this on the radio show this morning. I just feel like every guy that they even were targeting, they were either not able to get them on campus or got them on campus and even got crystal balled or even committed to Alabama and still couldn't get them to sign. So I was very, very thankful from the offensive line and defensive line
What
that they were able to sign a few guys.
what level is Cal
Cal
Poly?
Poly
FCS, isn't
D2, I
it?
think.
Is it D2?
FCS D2.
So should we be hyped about that, or
Yes.
should we be concerned?
I think because and it's really interesting when you look at a guy like him. It's positional versatility, and I think as of right now he probably lands at center. If I was picking a center, it'd either be him or it'd be William Sanders. Uh, Very similar sizes, 6'3", 6'4", about 310 pounds for the both of them. Do you want the guy that has played more at center in college, or do you want the guy that knows your system better at center, even though he's been a backup? It's kind of the question mark there when we're looking at these guys. But hey, once again, I just watched Alabama a couple weeks ago get their brains beat in by a bunch of JMU guys and guys that play at the FCS level. So I'm not going to knock it until I see it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess go ahead, Sim.
No, I was just saying I agree. Like you said earlier this morning that the levels aren't the from good to great isn't that big of a gap anymore. And so I don't think yeah, I think that even goes for players as a whole. I think if you can play, the talent will find you. And like they said that used to be for the NFL, but now I think because you can pay now, people are looking into the lower levels and saying, "Oh wow, this guy can in this dominating, the FCS or the D2 level, and can move up to the D1 level."
Hey, Cal
Well,
Poly, and who was one of Alabama's best players this year on the offensive side of the ball? Josh Cuevas, right?
yep,
He started out at Cal Poly.
maybe that's where they know him from. Maybe that's
I don't think they were ever there together, but
no. I'm talking about the relationship with the coach. Maybe
yeah,
because they brought Josh to Washington from Cal Poly, I guess, right?
yeah. So
So, but what I was about to say is once again, remember you're you're signing high school kids based on them being like I grew up in a town of 2,000 people in the city, 6,000 people in the county, okay, something like that. And I was a 250-pound running back my senior year and linebacker. Okay. So and benching, 425 as a junior and all this type of crazy stuff. But I was playing against guys that were significantly smaller. And but I was a 4A. I was a 4A. And
right
so
in the middle.
Coach Fuller said that when they were talking about offering me, the conversation was, is he good or is he just bigger and more mature than everybody already? And does he have any more growing and maturing to do? In other words, was I peaked out at 18, 17, 18 in high school, and when I got to college, I would be a good player, but that good player wasn't because I grew and matured and got better. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you take other guys that are playing at a 6A school that can't get on the field because they're playing behind, you know, uh, Chad Jackson at Hoover, for
Yeah.
instance.
Right.
big time wide receiver, or Bo Scarborough when he was healthy in high school. Well, you to back up to him, you may be a really good player, and just but you only have a certain amount of window to play, and so you go to JUCO and continue to grow and mature, or you go to an FCS or whatever. And I think because you've always seen the NFL pick some little guys. I was thinking about this the other day. Who's the best running back? Now, not the league rusher, but when I was coming along, and I think Emmitt Smith, he has the title, but Emmitt Smith got the title because Emmitt Smith played till he was 150 years old. Right? Not knocking him, but Jim Brown and Walter Payton. Where did Walter Payton play?
Jackson State.
Okay, so one of the best players ever
Mhm.
came from
You
a
want to
small
keep
school,
going? Where Jerry Rice play?
and that's where I was going. The best wide receiver,
Mississippi Valley.
right? So so you start looking, and all of a sudden you start finding these guys. Think about Tom Brady in college. He was average,
If
Yeah.
that.
right? And
Well,
so
I mean,
so I think that I know we've just talked about the Cal Poly thing. I don't want to bog you guys down on that. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask that question because that's the rebuttal that the haters of Alabama are saying is dogging Alabama, saying, look at them, man. Alabama's falling so far that they're getting excited over a kid from Cal Poly.
yeah, I mean, and the haters are going to talk like that, but once again, like you said, this is a kid that could have been 6'1", six. I don't know, but I'm just saying, could have been 6'1", 280 when he graduated high school, and kept growing. Or even if he was 6'4", he might have only been 265, 270 when he graduated high school, and schools weren't sure if he could put on 30, 40 pounds to be able to get to the size that you need. Or he might have played at a tiny school.
Right.
And because he played at a tiny school, you didn't, it was the question that people had about you. And you see that all the time. Oh, people question Derrick Henry because he played at a 2A in Florida. He should break all the. He's 6'3", 245. He should be the all-time leading rusher in high school. Playing at that level. That's just part of it. So you don't. I haven't looked into his background, but Bama sees something in him, and you see potential in him. And Coach DeBoer has always done a good job with what you would consider "quote unquote" lesser talent or unknown talent, and raising it up.
Yeah, and one of the things I hadn't thought about till just then, as you're saying that, is it possible that the board can assess that talent because he coached at a smaller school, and he's probably seen guys at that level that he probably would say, "Man, this guy could probably play up," you
Yeah.
know. And so maybe that's what's happening there. Anyway,
Yeah, I think it is,
I'll
but
continue the conversation on the portal.
yeah, getting back into the portal, Bama also was able to land 6'8", 345-pound offensive tackle Nick Brooks, who was a true freshman this past year at Texas. He played in 5 games, so he will be a sophomore this coming up year. But absolute mountain, as well as another SEC lineman, Ethan Fields out of Ole Miss, 6'4".
Real quick on the Texas thing, does he fit? Is he an outlier? Why did
He seems like an outlier.
I have no idea why. I mean, we talked about it this morning. I have no idea.
Does he have good feet?
He played guard. He started 3 games at guard for him. So and they pulled him and used him in that type of way. So apparently he does have pretty good feet.
Yeah, he looked to be put together a little bit better than like
he's 25 pounds, 30 pounds lighter too.
Yeah, wasn't as heavy footed from what I looked at his film.
Okay.
So, but with this Alabama team, with when you look at the rest of the offensive line, he is an outlier, a far standing outlier. Even though we've got some 6 foot other 6'6", 6'7" guys, they're in that 315 to 330 range. So at 345, 350, he does tend to stand out. But Ethan Fields, he seems to fit the mold. 6'4", 315. He's played a little tackle. He's played guard. He'll be a junior this year. Once again, experience coming into that room. So that's a positive. Defensively, Bama got a couple of guys too. You got Terrence Green, a 6'5", 330-pound defensive lineman. So a big body. It'll be interesting to kind of see what they do with this defensive front, because he's a bigger, taller, longer Tim Keenan type build. But do they play him at the D tackle spot, not the nose tackle spot? When you have a guy like London Simmons coming back, but you're thin at the D tackle spot, losing James Smith, losing, not knowing what Jeremiah Beam is going to be coming back off of his knee injury.
Do you think that Simmons? Do you not think Simmons
Simmons,
slides out and replaces James Smith?
he could.
I think he. I mean,
He's athletic
he-
enough to.
Do you think they're looking to change this defense up a little, like schematically a little bit?
I hope so.
Yeah, and with the addition of the
Go ahead.
no, but that also kind of makes me wonder when you talk about the addition of the South Carolina transfer Desmond Umazulu. He 6'5", 250 pounds. He's big. He'd be a big wolf in this defense, but he'd be a small bandit. When you look at the Russos, the Pierres, the Hills, he's longer and heavier, but he's not, and he's just as long, but not as heavy as the Renards, the Overtons, and what we've seen from that position. So maybe there is a little bit of a shift coming.
Well, and maybe it's not that they're changing their base defense. Maybe they're going to be able to have enough dudes and enough variety that they can go into a game with a 4-3, and do some of that stuff that we saw Indiana do. You know,
Who are the three linebackers though? I mean, I know obviously Caleb Woodson is who they're
Projected
wanting,
to be one.
projected to be one of them.
I think you have the first three. Remember, that would be a situational, so you don't need a bunch of guys to do that. But you could see Pierre being an outside guy. You could see Hill being the other outside guy. So instead of you having one guy on the sideline, whoever the backup is to Pierre becomes that other linebacker potentially, and Woodson be in the middle,
right?
You know, and
you have QB Reese,
huh?
You have options with a QB Reese who really impressed coaches since he's gotten to Bama through his redshirt and then his redshirt freshman year. And Caden Jones is a 6'4", 230-pound inside linebacker. So Luke Metz, you got options at that position. But as
inexperience.
And look, I didn't even notice that heavy hitters out. I'm hearing QB Reese is going to be difficult to keep off the field. I think he is. At the start of spring, you're going to see Woodson and Reese as those two inside linebackers, because that dude's a baller and a little undersized at only about 6 foot, 6'1", but he's a baller and he's a playmaker. So that's an option as well.
Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I don't know that they're going to move away from their base, but I think they're going to have they're recruiting more guys to be able to, you know, have something.
I think it's clear that they're looking to do more than just their base defense from what they brought in.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think and I think you have to
I
have
mean, I
more.
agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
You have to have more variety. And even when you look at the DBs that they've brought in through the transfer portal, I mean, the only guy is O'Neal through the portal, but you go get a Nick Sherman who's 6'2". You go get Edmonds who's 6'2" at corner and stuff like that. So
They
they're
gotta have one
getting
of the
longer at those positions.
taller like defensive groups as a whole. Have to be.
How big is Bray Hubbard?
6'2", about
Yeah.
215.
Don't underestimate him being that other linebacker.
Yeah.
That if they have a third linebacker, um, don't sell that short because he could cover the tight. He'd be to the tight end side. He could cover the tight end out of the backfield, and I think he's tough enough that he could stick his nose up in there as
Yeah,
well. Because that way you could put Pierre uh,
on the
down
edge.
the other defensive end, hand in the dirt
Maybe
type.
Mincy can be that safety because I
You
mean
could have
Mincy played.
Mincy,
Yeah,
Kirkpatrick Jr.,
yeah,
O'Neal, who's played safety at Mercer, and you get 2 inches taller when you put him out there. So I mean, Bama has a lot of versatility with their defense, and it's going to be interesting to see what changes and tweaks are made.
I think defense is better. I think the portal.
I agree.
Uh, I think the portal. I think the kid, if he brings some toughness from USC, the
Mm-hmm.
Oregon kid,
Oh,
uh,
Tompkins.
yeah, Woodson. I think that's a pretty solid nucleus right there in the middle that they added. Um, where we got gouged at times. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
let's be real. There was times when you just you could take it to us right up the middle. I don't think
Yeah,
we had a problem sideline to sideline or on the edges, other than when Damani Jackson wasn't feeling.
yeah. When he didn't feel like setting the edge, I guess.
He didn't
Yeah.
like that. He didn't like setting that edge. His hairline was tore up. He had no edge. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But to wrap this up, we did get a commit from the high school rankings as well, and that's a 6'1", 180-pound wide receiver Maurice Mathis out of Houston County High School in Warner Robins, Georgia. And I don't know if y'all watched any highlights. Man, that kid, he's smooth. He is a
Was
route
Why was he not? Why
runner.
was he going to Sanford?
He was going to Samford.
Yes,
He got a steal right there. Wow.
he is so smooth, man.
But I guess that's what I'm saying. Was he one of the once again? Talking about Saban saying how you gonna trust the stars that these guys had never coached anybody. Is this one of those guys that didn't go to camps?
Has to be. He had 1,000 yards as a junior. Comes back, has 1,000 yards again, and when you see for y'all that are listening, look up Maurice Mathis Jr.'s highlights. The dude is smooth in and out of his breaks. It's very Judy-esque, Jerry Judy-esque when you watch him run routes.
I mean, I looked at this. I didn't realize he was. I didn't realize he was a Samford commit. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So, but guess what? You know what I love about that? You know what I love about that? You know how hyped that guy is now.
Oh
He's
yeah.
ready to come put in work now.
Not only to put in the work, do you see him being one of these guys that comes in like he was last week? He was going to Sanford. Now he's going to be dressing for the Crimson Tide. He expecting to wait 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming in going, I know I'm coming in with the expect. But remember, there's a couple ways to get older guys on your team. One way is to go out and find them in the portal. Another way is to get guys here on campus and mature them in your program, and they may not be a 5-star that's ready to play at 18, but they'll play like a 4-star when they're 20.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I think that's what this staff is going for. I mean, they've gotten young guy after young guy, especially on the offensive line and in pretty much everywhere. Other than, I mean, the defensive line has gotten some pretty good experience in playing, but I think that's what they're doing with this offense. Is, you know what, we're just slowly moving this thing along. They'll gain experience, and I think they'll Alabama will be better for that.
all right, Simeon, I've tossed that. You can go out to Alabama sports with Martin Houston and see my starting lineup for the O line. What before we get to that, I want to give y'all a second to think about it. Who's your starting lineup? But what's
Offensive
the
line?
grade? What's the huh?
You
What
said
I
for
mean,
offensive line? All right.
offensive line, yeah. But what's your grade? What's the grade you give it? Last week it was an F. Okay, I mean last week, and then by the end by the middle of the week and toward the end of the week, it was probably a C. But what's your grade now? What's your grade for this team?
Because
This,
of the
this portal class, and I don't think
because
it's finished. I don't think
I
it's
hope
finished.
so.
no, I don't think it is either. But because of the way I think they're doing it and the long-term goal of it is like that clip I sent y'all of what Josh Pate said. This is the way he's doing it is still a formula and a scheme to win. It just might not be how people want it to look. But he's getting young guys that you talk about Ty Haywood and Caden Strayhorn. These were guys that were so close to already being at Alabama that they end up at Alabama a year later.
What did Josh Pate say?
Josh Pate talked about how everybody's looking at Kalen DeBoer's portal class and questioning it when it's still a way to win, and it's still a formula to win because yeah, you're getting young guys and guys to supplement, not build on. He talks about the NIL money, something that y'all have heard me say multiple times. I think Alabama is spending their money on retaining in high school. That's where I think Alabama's NIL money goes toward, while a lot of other teams get you in a Oregon situation or a Miami situation where you're constantly having to go outbid somebody for a quarterback in
Yeah,
the transfer portal because you're not developing.
well, I can tell you, Indiana has to be careful
Yeah.
because they're getting ready for their third quarterback in a row. Um, Miami's going to have to be careful because what high school kid is going to come there knowing that you're going to go get somebody out of the portal and never give me a chance? Oregon's quarterback has already hit the portal when they signed out of high school. Um, so that's a big thing. And before we get to the staff, because Keith Holcomb brings up a good point, before we get to the O line, guys, what about all the guys left in the portal? Is there any Alabama guys left in the portal? But guys in the portal as a whole, I don't know if you've seen the story that's starting to break. Have y'all seen this?
Mm.
That a lot of them are have already tried to go back to as the
Yeah.
portal was closing. They've been trying to go back to their regular teams. I mean, their host teams, and the teams are telling them no.
Mm-hmm.
And that's starting to happen. They said it's happening even more this year. I mean, I think someone said, I don't know what the numbers are, but between all of the college football players, you guys think that Alabama loses a lot of players? Do you understand that the FCS schools are losing like half their roster? Like 40 and 50 guys are going into the portal on some of these teams because they all think they can play at the next level. In all of the Division Ones, it's thousands. It's over 3,000 Division One. Over 3,000.
Iowa State had 50 something players enter the portal, and I think, and of course their head coach got the coaching job at Penn State, but I think he only took 22 of them.
Yeah.
So that's almost 30 guys that have to find somewhere else to play.
That's a whole signing class.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the part that no one's talking about, no one's saying out loud is, there's some guys getting paid, and there's a lot of guys making money right now out of the portal because of NIL. I mean, making NIL money because of the portal, but there's a lot more being stuck in the portal. There's going to be probably 3,000 players who had scholarships. Let this sink in. Who had scholarships who will not be on scholarship anywhere.
Yep.
And that's going back. That's guys, some of them may have been in the portal for 1, 2, 3 years. And now they're either left with walking on somewhere or going down a division. And I'm not knocking that, but you had a paid scholarship, not a free education, but a paid education that could change everything. And no one's talking about that. And that's going to be so bad in the coming years. Only person I've heard say something about it directly is Calipari at Arkansas. He was talking about all of the chaos from them letting guys come back from the portal, older guys getting approved. He said, why would I go recruit a high school guy? He said, the reason I'm going to do it is because I love the development side of it. I don't know if that's true or not, since he had a lot of one and dones. But anyway, really quick, any thoughts on the tragedy of the portal and all these guys being left in there?
It's heartbreaking because you had an opportunity. Because it's heartbreaking because the goal of a athletic scholarship is to give you an opportunity to get a college degree for free.
For paid.
But for paid. But they don't have to come out of pocket for that college degree. And there's a lot of young men that, hey, not everybody makes it to the NFL. But now you might lose that opportunity to get
the NFL.
If you make it to the NFL, and then even if you make it to the NFL, who are you going to be there long enough to have life-changing money? That's not a guarantee.
Now, okay, I'll listen to this. Listen to this number. I mean, if you trust Chat GPT, okay. As of 2026 transfer portal cycle, them making one cycle one time actually made it worse. Y'all realize that?
Mm-hmm.
I think more guys went in the portal than would have otherwise because they were afraid of what they may miss out on. Instead of staying and fighting for a position this year, this spring, and then transferring, they all went into the portal across all divisions. D1, D2, D3, 10,965 players. 3,972 players entered the portal in FBS. FCS had 2,771 players. Division 2 and 3 had 4,222. It sounds like that the FCS and is on par with where the other ones are. But the reality of it is there's only in college football, right? 130 teams, some give or take. Let's say I think it's 130.
136.
Is it 136 now? It goes up a little bit each year because they add different teams. 11,560 players on scholarship. If every team is using every scholarship, okay. Look at the percentage of players. This is crazy. 35% of the players, if a roster was full, okay. Remember, the rosters were not full. Why? You only had 3 classes on on your team because all the guys who left and went to the pros don't count toward the 85. But if you had taken, if every scholarship had been full, it'd have been 35%. If you take out the guys
All
who
the seniors.
graduated and eligibility ran out and all of that, it's probably almost half of the players who were on scholarship put their name in the portal.
Yeah, because what do you think? It's probably about the average. The average senior class is probably 20 to 23,
No,
22,
it's usually 15 to 20 probably
15 to
because
20.
well, that's probably going up some. Back when I was playing, you'd sign 25 and you have to think about it. They know they're going to lose some, right? Because if
Mm-hmm.
you sign 25 every year and
That's
and
100.
5 years later they were all on scholarship, you'd have
That's 100.
125 players. So players have always had attrition. So it's probably somewhere in that 15 to 20 range. I don't know that, but
Yeah, but say it is 15 to 20 per team.
it's
And you it's insanity. And like I said, it's
Yeah.
really sad that you got these guys losing opportunities that they had earned. Now, the ones I truly feel bad for are the ones that get told to go into the portal.
that's all of them now. There's a lot more agents giving bad advice than coaches forcing. Coaches don't have to do that as much now. Coaches
Right.
don't have to force players into the pool as much now because
It's true.
players that don't add up think that most of the time they think that they're better than what they are.
Yeah, and like another thing that just makes me feel for the players is that a lot of these guys, almost everybody that entered the portal, didn't think that they had already played their last down of football,
Right, right.
and so there's no closure. There is no closure whatsoever, and that can just go. I mean, that can for mental health, for just. I mean, think about some of these guys that were unfortunately made to be the providers for their family. Um, and so when you see that, it just makes you, just breaks your heart a little bit because like these guys were going to school, getting an education, and then now they're no longer getting an education and they're no longer playing football. So like, what do they
Yeah.
do?
Here- here's of the 10,000 that went into the portal, 6,671 are still active, and of that, Simeon, that group you were talking about, those the guys who are D2 D3, they just go back and they were already paying for school, right?
Yeah,
Uh, FCS was probably partial scholarships, but the D1s were all that's 1,619 players. So right at 1/3 of the players that go, 1 out of every 3 end up still in the portal.
They end up having to drop down if they're lucky.
Mm.
Can you imagine going from playing at a middle
any I
of the
mean
road
any D
school,
one, any D1.
Kansas? Going from Kansas to now you're playing it where you thought you didn't have fans in the stands.
You
Mm. Anyway, that's like I said, that breaks my heart a little bit um, because the agent is the problem, guys. We haven't talked about that a lot. Um, you know what the requirement is to become an agent? Have y'all seen the requirements on that?
You can put
Mm-mm.
agent in your bio. There
Yeah,
aren't any, are there?
yeah. At the NFL level, that you just have to go through the player association and fill out paperwork. In college, I think you just apply and say I want to be an agent, and then you start putting
Yeah,
your name.
you don't have to. You don't have to.
There's no governing body for that, and that's man. Think
It's
about the
corrupt.
predators, and man, I like I said,
It's corrupt.
it's bad, and shame on the NCAA leadership, shame on Sankey and all the other commissioners, shame on these presidents of universities and these athletic directors, because they could have done something to prevent this from happening. They have created an absolute mess of college football. Um, and now they're having a pissing contest instead of doing things. And this is a quick sidebar, but I think it's worth us. They're having a pissing contest, Simeon. Sankey is trying to show that he can piss farther than the Big Ten and the ACC and the Big 12. Well, he probably has missed his window because the SEC is no longer the power broker. They are no longer the power broker. And this is the first time that they're going into the offseason without leverage. Like you could still make the argument last year, but now when you
They
say
better hope Miami wins. Sankey better hope Miami wins tonight.
Or at least it better it either
Competitive don't matter. If
it'll
Indiana wins it tonight and they go 3 in a row, that Big Ten's running things.
Well, even if they're not, because the reason it's crazy. The Southeastern Conference has the smallest television markets of all the conferences, and we own television. But that's the crazy part. But the other conferences all have more resources, more industry, more corporations, more sponsorships, more all of the things. Because right now they're talking about being able to put, like little
the
patches on them and stuff like that. Well, that's going to drive more money to these guys' bottom line. And does Amazon choose to go where the TV market is, like the Southeastern Conference, or do they choose to go where they're headquartered? Which conference do they support? You see what I'm saying? Like Oracle. That's why all of these teams all of a sudden have all of this money, and they're using it the right way. And now the power has shifted from the decision maker. You're going to start seeing more rules made and things change that benefits northern teams than you do southern teams if this power flip completes itself.
But when you make the sport about money, the decisions get made for the money. And so I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's the right thing. I don't agree with it, but these schools are now having to come up with the money to pay these athletes and these players. And so they are going to make a deal with Amazon. They are going to make a deal with Oracle. They are going to make deals with these teams. But guess what? And I know this might be a little crazy, but these schools are going to end up having to either break off like men's football, like football and men's basketball. Is either going to have to break off because why would I, as Amazon, why would I give you $100 million if it's and then you give it
and make
to,
you pay the rowing team?
I'm not trying to be funny. Like
no, you're right though.
No, they're not, and they're going to say, you either put it all in football and men's basketball, or we're not giving you the money anymore. And it's about money. So,
have you all seen the Mark Gottfried interview with Greg Sankey?
Mm-mm.
I haven't.
Okay. Huh?
Mm-mm.
I haven't.
Okay. Y'all talk about your starting lineup. I'm going to find that and come back to this conversation because Greg Sankey goes on it. Let me set it up for a minute. Greg Sankey, not Greg Sankey, Greg Byrne made the statement about how much money they give every scholarship athlete. Okay. How much money they give every scholarship athlete. And he said, we only have 2 teams that's making money, and we don't plan to change that. So somebody help me understand
Wait,
how
what?
can you make that work if you don't plan to change that?
I don't know. Sam, who you got for your starting five?
uh, I don't have necessarily positions figured out yet, but I'll give you my five, and I think they'll figure out where on the line
Where?
they'll go. I think I got Nick Brooks. I have Racing Delgatti. I have Michael Carroll. I have William Sanders, and I have. I'm either between Jackson Lloyd and Ty Haywood. I'm gonna go with Jackson Lloyd to start the season because he'll have,
Because he's been here.
yeah, to start spring at least.
So who's your 5?
Jackson Lloyd, Nick Brooks, Racing Delgatti, William Sanders, and Michael Carroll. But I don't know if they want Carroll at tackle. I don't think they want him at tackle. So if they don't want him at tackle, then slide off either Will or Delgatti, and then put Haywood or Ty. I mean Lloyd at my tackle.
You said slide off Will Sanders?
I said or Delgatti. I think they will be battling for the same spot.
Oh, I think Will
Racing
Sanders
Delgatti.
is a starter. I
You
think
think
it just depends on where.
Where?
Point blank period. But here's mine. Here's mine because I think that they might keep Mike at tackle. So mine's based off of Mike staying at tackle. I have I let me go. I'm gonna go Mike Carroll, Ethan Fields, Racing Delgatti.
I forgot about Ethan Fields. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Will
He's gonna
Sanders.
play. Yeah.
And then I think it's a 3-way battle for the other tackle spot between Brooks, Haywood, and Lloyd.
That'll be a dog fight at tackle. But I'll take it. I'll take it.
Going into it, I think Lloyd has the upper hand, even though he
I forgot
didn't
about Ethan
play as
Fields.
much because he's been here. So I think he's day one.
Who
But
is your 5?
Michael Carroll. Michael Carroll's the only position I have. He's going to be the starter at this position. I think he's going to
him at
be
right tackle.
I have him at right tackle. I think the 3 inside guys, however it plays out, is Ethan Fields, Delgatti, and Will Sanders. And then I think the left tackle is a 3-way dogfight between Nick Brooks, Ty Haywood, and Jackson Lloyd.
See, but you moving Brooks somewhere where he didn't play last year.
He played at tackle. He played tackle last year. He played guard due to injury. They had a guy get hurt, and he moved.
I don't want to see another 6'8" slow guy. I don't care how.
He's not slow. You need to watch his tape. He's not.
No, he can move.
I'm just. But the first time
you got PTSD.
First time he do this.
The first time he let somebody cross his face.
First time he do this right here. I would say he's too big. He's too fat. So go ahead and put him in right.
But he's already I'm 25, 30 pound lighter. I know, but he's at a 30-pound advantage right now.
Here's mine. um, which I think mine's right.
Of course you do.
I'm sure you do.
Huh?
Yeah.
What y'all
I'm
say?
sure. I said I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Right tackle, Nick Brooks. Right guard,
gonna say
Michael
something?
Carroll. Michael Carroll. Center, Will Sanders battling it out with Racing Delgatti, Ethan Fields, and Jackson Lloyd battling it out with Ty Haywood. So I'm not giving
Didn't you
Racing.
just get on Xavier for having him at tackle?
Who?
Nick Brooks. You.
No, I
having Nick Brooks
have
at
him at right tackle. Right tackle.
He doesn't want him at left tackle.
Right tackle. Right tackle. Make that edge long. I think they're gonna put one of those athletic guys at
Left.
tackle.
They must like Jackson Lloyd.
They
a
do.
lot.
They do. They really do.
That
They
dude,
didn't really get
that dude is an athlete.
Yeah, he was a basketball player
Hey,
and baseball
y'all forgive
player, I
me.
think.
Y'all
But,
forgive me.
okay. Huh?
Y'all forgive me. I'm not too familiar with his game.
No, he.
If you know, if you
I got you.
get,
No, he like. Hey, no, he's
I
like
need to do
that.
some. I need to do some
Keith Holcomb
research.
Keith Holcomb said it don't matter who the starting five is. Cap gonna rotate them all year.
No,
right.
no.
Circling back on that conversation. Let me see if I can and get that. Listen to this. This is crazy conversation. Okay, this is Coach.
We can't hear it.
Mm-mm.
All right. Hey guys, if you can't hear it, y'all start talking. That's my fault. I didn't realize you couldn't hear it. I can hear it on my side. So if y'all can't hear it,
you didn't hear it say it.
Yeah, we said
keep saying it and start talking. That we can't hear it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, but no.
I got it. I got it now. I think maybe we'll figure it out. All right. Let me see if I can get it back. This is crazy conversation. Remember, this is all about salary and what he does. This is not what's required. Hear me out. This is not what's required. This is what he's doing at Alabama. Okay? He's doing this of his own volition. Can it be sustained?
still nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're saying that it's $200,000 a year for a full scholarship, but
still doing. This is escape forever, and it's not going back. I mean, it's not an unlimited bucket of money.
At Alabama, not counting a dollar. At Alabama, not counting a dollar. At Alabama, not counting a dollar in salaries, we spend $195,000 a year on a kid who's on a full ride scholarship on average. And all you read about leading up to where we are is unpaid labor. I was like, God dang, man, for all that narrative, we sure do spend a lot of money on their experience, which we're proud of and we're still doing.
This has changed the landscape forever, and it's not going back. I mean, it's not an unlimited bucket of money, that most people think that you have. It's just there's just unlimited. So you've got to take a big chunk of that now and push it towards the student athlete. How do you manage that, Greg?
Yeah, I thought about Coach Saban a lot when he would say, Greg, the dinosaurs didn't evolve. And so you got to make sure you evolve with it. So we're fortunate we have a passionate fan base. We're fortunate we have one of the healthier budgets. However, it isn't unlimited like you talked about. We have 21 sports. 2 of them turn a profit. Football turns a healthy one. Men's basketball turns a profit, but not a huge one. And then you have 19 sports that don't. After that are 2 smallest net teams in the red, so a financial loss in the red. At Alabama, not counting a dollar.
Did y'all hear it that time? Did I finally get it right?
Yep.
What you think about that?
I mean, that is
so already $200,000 being spent on the student athlete for their experience. That's plane rides, gear, living expenses, living spaces, all of those things. And now you're saying we also have to pay X amount of dollars. And there's 21 sports that are getting $200,000
on average per athlete. On average per athlete.
On average per athlete. That is insane. And now you're saying, okay, we're going to give you a pot of money, but you also have to divvy up that money to 19 sports that are already in the negative.
And here's the crazy part to think about that, guys. Let this sink in. 2 sports make a profit.
And one of those barely makes one.
2 of them make a profit. So technically, football is paying for every athlete at Alabama to have a $200,000 a year experience. You doggone right I'd be upset if I was a football player. Let that sink in. This is socialism at its best.
For a 5-year player, that's $1 million. $1 million for a red shirt 5 year. I mean, that is crazy.
Remember, they're already no. The football player gets a $195,000 experience that he's paid for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's earning money for. The other sports are losing money and still getting the same thing that I get on average. On average, I understand that, but you cannot. This is not sustainable. It's not unlimited, and it bothers me that we got a great fan base. So your plan is that you're going to get more money from me? That guys, this right here, that's socialism. All y'all that vote for that stuff, right there. I know it's not politics, but I couldn't help it. Because I'm not rich, but that's the everybody that gets offended that says you should just, tax the rich. This is, if you're an Alabama fan, that's the exact same thing. They're looking at you as their source. No different than the government looks at people as the source because they have money. Now you want to take advantage of my love for Alabama? No, you know what's going to happen? In 3 years, he's going to be recording that video and he's going to say, well, our experience is, if he keeps it at that rate, the first part of this video won't change. He'll say, now we have 15 sports and two of them are cutting a profit. And in a few years, the football is going to be a decent profit, not a healthy one like he mentioned, and basketball will maybe it may go up if Nate Oates keeps getting us to the Final Four. They may be clearing more of a profit, right?
But it's a trend, like you said. We're at 21 sports right now. 5 years from now, it could be 15.
But
20 years from now,
they gotta
it
break
could
off.
be 5.
Right. And here's the thing. You can't just cut a sport. You can't look at the business and go, this one is losing the most money. You have to go, what's our numbers? Well, if we cut a sport, the first sport we have to cut is
a male sport.
A male sport. because right now, like hockey is still a club sport at Alabama. Not because the team's not good, it's just because they can't go to a scholarship because of Title One because there's not another women equivalent. So
There's a reason why
every
you have
time
a
they're going to
scholarship.
cut both. I think they'll
Right.
cut both. I think
Yeah.
they'll cut a male sport and a female sport every time and
They
keep
need
it
to
like.
break off. They need to. It needs to be broken
But
off to where.
But if they
and,
break off, Simeon, you're still going to have the same effect.
What?
Football breaks off. Football breaks off, and you mean as long as they're still part of the university, you still have the Title IX obligations.
Is Title IX NCAA or
Yes, it's
what-
fair.
it is
It's
federal.
law.
okay?
It means that like
Women
Alabama
get an equal
football
opportunity.
No,
there is
no,
no
I get it. I just don't know how if they break it off in the sense of like, would this make sense? If they break it off in the sense of making college football just like the NFL, for profit, Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12, they all, I'm telling, make it their own like college football, whatever. I don't know the name for it.
if
Would
it's
that make it?
funded by the college, it's still
But
as long as the college is connected and associated with it, even if the players aren't in school. I think it's going to come where these players are going to become employees anyway at some point if they don't change.
Yeah.
But the school, as long as the school still has it, those people are still associated. I think it would still be that way. I could be wrong.
As long as it's still a scholarship, but I think that's what Simeon's asking. If it's no longer a scholarship.
Well, if it's no longer a scholarship, then they'll immediately cut women's sports anyway. Right? A lot of the women's sports exist because you have 85 male athletes on
the football team,
and there is no women equivalent
to that many players. Yeah.
So that's why you have so many other.
That's why you have
sports.
Females. That's why you have soccer.
That's five female sports for 85 or
something like that.
Close to that number.
Yeah.
Baseball becomes a club sport.
Gosh,
softball becomes a club sport.
I don't know how you fix it.
I don't know about softball. No, some of them would make it, Xavier, because you're still going to have football. You're going to have football. You're still going to have gymnastics and softball and women's basketball. You're still going to have those, it may be some of the ancillary sports, but all of the sports, let that sink in. 19 of them are losing money.
Oh, wait. Football scholarships are going up to 105.
So that means that they will.
So they had to. Every sport got an increase in scholarships. So Simeon, that's what you got to think. I think basketball went up to like 20. So between men's basketball and football, you have about 125 scholarships of those two sports. So just football and basketball, you have to have an equivalent of 125 female scholarships, athletic scholarships.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Well, it's not fixable then. How do you fix that?
But
you don't.
Anyway,
you can't.
It's just. I saw that. I thought y'all might like that.
I mean, college sports as a whole are just in trouble. I don't see how you,
because there's no guardrails, there's no guidelines, there's no system, and the NCAA doesn't have the backbone to put them in.
Imagine Amazon without structure. It would be a chaos, even though it may be a great business model.
But the NCAA has been so bad for so long. And this is before they've been bad before NIL.
Right.
Yeah.
And how you either have to have some type of new government system come in because nobody's going to listen or respect the NCAA because they don't have one set rule on like this is what it's going to be, and we're going to follow that. Because they have, they pick and choose which day, which scholarship, which player they're going to approve to play another year. But then a football player wants to go play up near his grandfather. That's a no. But TJ Finley there's no way he has a college degree. There's no way he has a college degree at all, and he gets to play for his seventh team in 7 years. That's not fair. But the same governing body approved and denied both of those. Like they have no consistency. Sorry, y'all. I got a passion.
No, but you're right, Sam. That's the unfortunate side of it. And as Keith Hogan said, Nick Saban tried to warn him. He tried everything Nick Saban said. Hey, you need to have guidelines. You need to have set rules. You need to do this. You need to do that to keep this in check. Everybody was going, oh well, it's just because you want to stay in power. Oh, so you can win. When he was looking at the bigger picture of college sports as a whole, and now we're sitting here 4 or 5 years later going, oh no, everything he said has come true.
Yep.
Yep.
Maybe there's a commission. I don't. Maybe there needs to be a commissioner. I don't know, but nobody can agree on anything. The Greg Byrne and the Big Ten commission, they can't agree because 16 and 24. It's just. Let's talk about the national championship. Let's go ahead and wrap. Goodness, but this national championship game, I feel like Indiana and Miami are. This is good on good. This is a dominant offensive line from Miami. I don't know. Indiana's defensive line and defense as a whole causes chaos. Miami's defensive line is elite, and Indiana's offensive line are 37 years old. So if whoever can win with either the pure talent or I think who can control the trenches will end up winning the game for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. And that's what's going to be real interesting is Miami's offensive line. They're all huge outside of James Brockemeyer. They're all 6'5", 3. I think literally outside of James Brockemeyer, their entire offensive line is 6'5" and 325 plus. Like they have huge hog mollies up front, and they can control with the smaller, quicker chaos that Indiana's front seven plays with is going to be the real front. And Carson Becky's done it so far. Can he do it for a fourth game in a row? Play mistake-free, limited mistake-free football to help this team win.
Good Carson, right?
Good Carson.
Good Carson shows up to have a chance. Hey, listen, what does Indiana do? How do they cause that chaos on with their defense? Think about it.
Stunts.
Yeah.
Which way are stunts going?
Sideways.
What do most teams? How do they run? Sideways, speed, angles, right?
Yeah.
So you ever, and this is not to be graphic, you ever seen a wreck where somebody just kind of grazes the front because they dodge each other? You ever seen that? It's a bad wreck, but it's not like collision, right? You ever seen a T-bone?
Yeah.
You ever seen when a car just cross the intersection, the other car just runs straight into it? Why teams have not done that to Indiana, I don't know. Like I said, you call man blocking and you understand double team. It's man blocking, but the guy who, like, if you count it off and the center has one and the right guard has two, and then the other, then what you do in that scenario, and you look at it, and it's a run play. you audible to that spot. And then those two have a what? Automatic double team. Why? Because what happens is, like in Alabama game, the reason we were so bad, while we were going sideways, they were moving sideways and picking our guys off. But if you double team that first guy, well, the guy that's trying to loop, stun, or twist, what happens? You pick him off. And if you don't pick him off, you T-bone it. Yeah. I mean, literally. Yeah. And I think that Miami has that advantage is that Cristobal, being an old offensive line coach, offensive lineman, he'll get the physics of, if I hit them before they get started looping and stunning and twisting, I can cut that off. And now with that philosophy, they're going to have some big plays when you go man to man, because sometimes they're going to get a guy free. But the other side, you're going to have a lot of big plays for your offense where you gouge them because you cut. They give you a whole lot.
Yeah, they'll slant away from where you're running the ball, and
that guy gets cut off before he gets to that gap. They leave holes, but teams aren't as aggressive, aren't as downhill in their blocking for RPO reasons and blocking scheme reasons. With a team like this, man, if they're going to go sideways, you have to go right at them. And I think Miami does that. Y'all want to give a score?
Go ahead, X.
I don't know if I have a score. But Indiana, I mean, it's hard to bet against them at this point. But I'm tired of this talk of this is the greatest college football team ever. Joking, right? 2019 LSU blows the doors off of this team. 2020 blows the doors off of this team. 2001.
Who you got, Simeon? Do you understand how hard it is for me to pick Miami?
Yeah.
That tells you how much I dislike the Big Ten. I don't necessarily dislike Indiana.
No.
It's just if this was Indiana, if this was the Big Ten, if the SEC had won the last couple, or anybody had won the last couple, if it wasn't going for 3 in a row, I would pick Indy. So I understand this is not all scientific, what I believe, per se. If I don't have any money. I don't have any money on this game. So I'm not gonna lose anything if I pick the wrong team. If I was gonna lose some money, I would pick Indy. I'm not stupid. They just been playing too good. But I do believe that there's a path to victory for Miami, and that is commitment to the run game, control the clock, control the ball, no turnovers, Carson, no bad thing, and let Miami get after those boys with them 2 defensive ends. I think them tackles at Indiana going to find out what a grown man at defensive end plays like.
Oh.
I'm telling you, watch him now.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Indy. I'm going with Miami. Miami's going to win by 6-9, somewhere in that range.
Oh.
We have to shut up the great. This is the greatest team ever. Nonsense.
Regardless, win or lose, they're
the greatest team. It is the greatest team in Indiana history, but that doesn't mean that they good.
What that?
I mean, you have to understand, Xavier. You could
They've
take
never been there.
you
Act
could
like
take
they've never
somebody.
been there.
You can take somebody who's never had fried chicken. You know that fried chicken where I put in that milk and eggs and flour and put that crust on it. They never had that. They've never had it, Simeon. They'll think that's
they
the
haven't.
best. Huh?
I said no, they haven't.
That'd be the best chicken they've ever had. But if they've had, some other chicken that can compare, Indiana, they don't know what great football looks like. They do have a really, really good team. But to start talking about
if it was just Indiana people,
first time in 130 years, the Indiana fans have been watching football in January. First time. First time in 130 years that they've been watching football in January. Let that sink in.
Are they a football school now?
Huh?
Are they a football school now?
They are for now.
Dang. But I got Miami winning 21-17. I think it's going to come down to the quarterbacks. I think both teams will have somewhat equal success for running the running game. But from what I've seen from Carson Beck, if he doesn't, like we talked about this morning, Carson Beck doesn't need to have 30 plays where he has to win the game. 10 to 15, he can do that. And he did it against Ole Miss. And so for that reason, and I don't think Mendoza has had to. It's been a while since he's had to play.
He hasn't had to do it.
He's had to play. So I mean, I think with that being said,
it's been a month and a half since he's been in a fight.
Yeah. And so
and he did have 1 300-yard.
He did. Where? Who? Against who?
Michigan State.
Whoa. Not the Spartans.
All right, guys. Any closing thoughts?
Does he even have 4,000 yards on the year yet?
He didn't have 3,000.
Not even close.
See?
He didn't have 3,000 at the
Ty still has more yards than he does.
And Ty, man. Yeah, he has 3,300 yards. Come on now. Get out of here.
But he got 41 tutties.
All right. Any closing thoughts? Y'all starting to ramble. Y'all getting
47 touchdown, my bad.
This is my final thoughts right here. All about the year.
I can't do that, Sim. I can't go that
far. You have a lot more skin in the game when it comes to Miami. So
yeah. I can say
Alabama never lost to
Miami.
Hey, Alabama never lost to Miami in my lifetime.
Yeah. So, Miami used to. Hey, Miami used to be the homecoming school. Let's just hope Indiana, who used to be the homecoming school, doesn't end up being what Miami became. All right, Miami shut down Indiana, and we'll be talking about it. Hey, for all of you out there listening, like, follow, and share the Houston Huddle. 3 voices, every angle, beyond the headlines. You're going to hear stuff here that you're not hearing anybody else talk about anywhere else. We're going to be real. We're going to be on point, knowledgeable, and have a great time while we're doing it. It's the Houston Huddle. I'm Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. That's Simeon Houston. And, hey, we kick off every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. All of these same back channels that you are linked in to us right now, we'll be there tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. And hopefully we'll be talking about the Canes climbing the mountaintop in Indiana, falling flat on their face. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.